Hodsden PGA here with another quick video about things having to do with the release and kind of how the plane works in relation to the release through the golf swing. I'm at the beautiful X-Golf Chesapeake. Obviously, we have amazing technology here. All the X-Golfs are actually pretty amazing. This one is particularly nice because the owners they did a tremendous job. So what I want to do is I want to talk about how the downswing plane works, and then kind of relate it to the release. I've had some people contact me. I even had somebody recently on one of the videos, as more and more people seem to be subscribing very quickly here. And they talk about how I come into the golf ball when I'm demonstrating something. On this particular video, this person, was curious about how the release worked, and the video was really about how the trail elbow works in the golf swing and what it's supposed to do. And a person made a comment about, well, hey, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to release right. Looks like you're going to shank the golf ball, and so on and so forth. And I understand that point of view, and I understand how it may look when I'm demonstrating, a certain part of the downswing. But it's really, really important to understand that each video that I do is a piece of the puzzle. Okay, I need you guys to watch these videos, and I need you to start putting the puzzle together. Okay, you can go back and learn about the slot. You can learn about the backswing. You can learn about the wrist set. You can learn about how the elbow, follows the torso around. You can learn about the acceleration of the elbow. You can learn about the hand positions. Okay, how to point the club, how to strike the ball. I mean, there's a million different things that we need to talk about as we're going through this. But if you're patient and you watch these videos, you're going to find that all the things that you're looking for are here. Okay, all the things on how to swing kind of like Ben Hogan swung the golf club. And then for those of us that are using a more modern swing technique, or what I call the arm lift technique, instead of being more around like a classical swing, more up, with our arms. These techniques work with everything. Okay, there's a couple extra steps with the arm lift golf swing or the more modern golf swing than there is with more the classic golf swing. I like less steps, especially when I'm competing. All right, and the more efficient I get with my golf swing, the better I compete. Okay, I just won a tournament this past week in Maryland Senior Open, the professional division. Just won that because I kept it as simple as possible. We were playing high winds, difficult golf course, and I was able to keep it as simple as possible with the golf swing, which gave me a fundamental ball striking advantage over a lot of the other players. Okay, and I want you to have that. I want you to be able to go and compete with your buddies, compete in tournaments, compete in leagues, whatever have you. And I want you to try to be as efficient as you possibly can. This takes work, okay? It takes effort, but I'm here to help you, and I will help you. And this information that I've gleaned over 35 years of being a PGA golf professional and teaching for so long, from tour players all the way down to beginners, and then playing myself, I'm still a very active competitor, should give you hopefully some confidence that we're not just talking the talk here, we're walking the walk. Okay, we can give you information that's going to help you, that's proven to work. Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is be careful when you watch a video that it's the all-encompassing end to everything that you need. Each video is just one little part. And in my videos, I touch on several other parts, and then I suggest you watch videos that may relate to what I'm talking about in that particular video. So please be patient, go through the video library, start to learn and start to understand. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have almost 100 of them up, and you'll really, really be able to get granular with what it is that you need to feel or what it is that you want to see or learn. Okay? So thanks again for watching, and let's get into it. So what I want to talk about is we see when we're going down the line, and this is what this gentleman was kind of talking about when he made a comment, is that I like to come in from the inside, right, and uh, uh, get my elbow close to my body and in front of my body, which gives us a look that's kind of like this. Okay, it's a look that's kind of like this, and from here you look at this and you think, he's going to shank the ball if he swings like that. I mean, it's horrible. There's no possible way he can hit the golf ball. Okay, and what I was kind of discussing in one of those videos was how my elbow gets in front of me, and then we release the club at the last second, through the golf ball. But we're really trying to turn through that and almost trying to release in front of the golf ball, almost what would seem like after, the hit. But that's not what's really happening. Okay, I'm showing this, but you're rotating at the same time, so this thing is being slung around at the same time and being released and getting square very, very quickly right through impact. Okay, and then the rotation is going to bring the club around. All right, now having said that, how does it feel to feel this good release and to feel like you can release without losing the ball left and definitely without losing it right? Okay, because this position that Ben Hogan championed, okay, looks like, man, I can't get the club back to impact. But the actual truth is as I continue to move this way and I rotate inward like this, the club comes around. Okay, so I'm in this position and I rotate through, and the club comes around and continues off to the lead side, okay, around my body. All right, but how do we get there and how does it feel? One of the other videos I've done is talking about getting underneath the plane, the address plane, through impact. Okay, what that means is we set up here and we create a plane by the shaft angle at setup. Okay, so this shaft angle creates a plane that goes on forever and ever. We'll get another club here. So if I set up to the club to the ball like this, and we add this club here, now we've got this long shaft angle. This is the plane of the golf swing. Okay, and this is what we want to swing along this plane in a perfect world all the way around our body. So you swing, if the plane is like this, that you're going to swing all the way around on this plane, all the way around your body. It's going to go back on this plane and it's going to come through on this plane. Okay, that's kind of the idea of the perfect golf swing. The only person that's ever really done that, Mo Norman was pretty close. Ben Hogan was pretty close. And Iron Byron, that metal hitting machine, that's pretty much dead on. That thing can swing on one plane very, very well, but it's metal. Our bodies are not built that way, and we don't have, we can't build ourselves that way. So we're always going to be a little bit above the plane, a little bit below the plane. What I think you ought to be thinking about is swinging on the way down below the plane. What does that mean? That means that if we start here, I would like to see your hands come in a little lower than the plane on the way down. So we start here, we go back, we go up the plane. When we come down, I would like to see our hands get lower through the plane area, which means that we're going to almost feel like we're swinging more around our body versus up and down, versus the club going up and down. Okay? When you watch tour players play, a great many of them get pretty close to this. Okay, and when they're able to get pretty close to this, like Hogan did it amazingly. Ben Hogan, he swung under the plane. His hands got under the plane of his address plane. So if his address plane is here, his hands were here. When he went to hit the ball, his hands were down here. Okay, but he also sat down into the swing on the way through, and that allowed him to get lower and flatter through the plane. Now, his golf clubs were incredibly flat, okay? 4 or 5 degrees flat, some even more, okay, depending on the club and depending on what year he was playing. In the later years, the clubs got much flatter. So, interestingly enough, because I followed along with his swing method, I didn't do this. I didn't do it on purpose. But as I continued to go along with what I felt like was the correct swing method for me, I realized that I needed to flatten my clubs out. because I wanted to feel like I was swinging more around like a baseball player because it felt more comfortable, more powerful to me. Swinging up and down like this feels less powerful to me. Swinging around like a baseball player feels very powerful to me. Okay. So that's the reason I want to do that. So when I'm talking about getting into the release and what looks like, we can't even get there from here, right? Just looks like we're going to shank this golf ball. What I'm really talking about is we get here, our elbow gets into our side, and instead of coming down up like this to where we're kind of coming down and our hands are going up, I want to come down under the plane and I want to sit into this shot so that I can feel more like I'm coming in like baseball like this. Okay. I want to feel more under the plane. Okay. And that's going to allow me to release my hands and release the proper way, of course, which you need to watch videos on the release. But that's going to allow me to release my hands with full speed and not worry about the ball going right and not worry about the ball going left. The ball just goes straight down the line. Now, I might have a little draw or a little fade depending on what I'm trying to do or if my timing's off a little bit. But for the most part, it just goes wherever I point it. Okay? And I want that for you. You can do this. Okay? You really can. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to demonstrate this a little bit for you here. All right? So I'm at and you can slow this down. All right, I've got a little bit off center angle here on purpose. You can slow this down and take a peek at it when you decide that you want to watch this all the way through. Slow these swings down and take a peek at it and try to see where my hands are. I'm trying to get my hands slightly below the plane through impact, but if they're right on it, I'm super happy. The one thing I don't want to happen is I don't want my hands to get like this, and I don't want my hands to get so up that they're like this, okay? Because in another video, which you probably should watch, you need to understand that the shaft bows down, okay? The toe is heavy and the shaft bows down. So if my hands go up and the shaft is bowing down, then the toe is going to go so far down it's going to dig. And a great many of you have that problem. You'll go through and your hands will go really, really up and almost outside the golf ball, and then the shaft is still bowing down because of the weight of the toe of the golf club is bowing down, and then the toe just digs directly into the ground like this. Okay, that's Chunksville, man. You're going to just chunk the ball every single time, and then many of you start to swing kind of out and around it because you're chunking it, and you start shanking it. Okay, so double trouble there. So what you need to feel like is you need to feel like your hands come in lower through the impact area so that when the club is going through the impact area and then it bows down, right, then the club will get flat to the ground and you'll almost have no divot. When you're hitting it well with this method, unless you're really trying to come down on it to create spin or something like that, you should have, once you get to about 7-iron all the way up through, your driver, you should really have no divots. Like there shouldn't be any. It should be more like like just kind of bruising the ground, if anything. Okay. The ball doesn't start below the ground, so why would you go below the ground to go get it? The ball's on top of the ground. Okay. So you want to have more of a sweeping motion if you can. Okay. You don't want to be hitting the big ball, the earth, a whole lot. You want to be hitting the little ball, and you want to use as much energy in your body as possible, focused on the little ball. Okay. All right. So let's go. We're going to go here. We're going to get in our wrist set here, okay, in our good position. And then I'm going to try to come in lower than what my address plane was, okay? And that's going to allow me to be able to release the way I want to release all the way to the end. Should look something like this. And remember, you can slow-mo this and on your video player there so that you can kind of really get an idea of what it looks like. All right, so here we go. This is my plane, the plane I'm starting on. I'm going to go back into my wrist set here, okay, and into my right side. And then I'm going to settle down and try to get my arms and hands lower and drive through the golf ball to the finish. So here we go. Very good. I'm going to do that one more time so you can kind of get another feel for it and see, slow it down and see what you see. All right, so once again, I'm set up. I'm going to go to here, get my wrist set, right? And then I'm going to try to go under the plane and drive through the golf ball. So here we go. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. And I'll do it one more time, and at this time I'm going to do it with a little bit of speed. All right, so you can kind of see how it works. Going kind of as slow as it's tougher to make good contact with the golf ball. All right, so here we go. We're lined up. We're ready to go. We're going to turn our body, get into our good wrist set position. We're going to try to get under the plane and drive through to the left side. And there we go. And then we've got a really, really nice hit, 132 yards with almost 8,500 backspin for just a normal smooth pitching wedge. Okay. And you just can't miss it. Okay. If you can get your hands just a little bit lower through the impact area than you had them at address, this is good stuff. All right, so if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I'm Carey Hodsden, PGA at X Golf Chesapeake. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Hit them long and straight. See you later.